Art saves lives. I'm going to say that. We definitely found that throughout the pandemic when we were doing surveys with students and just understanding that the arts were the one thing that were getting them through the day. And so now that we're getting more post-pandemic, I think we all have a more acute awareness of the importance of the arts just in our daily lives. And I think our students are aware of that, our teachers are aware of that, our families are aware of that. And I think we're realizing that consuming art is something that's lifelong.
After hearing Mrs. Gardner's message and mission about how she wanted to bring art to Boston, that just spoke so much to me because I felt like, yeah, I agree with you.
It's just part of the fabric of being a student, being a citizen of Boston.
Thinking Through Art is the Gardner Museum's partnership with Boston Public Schools. We invest deeply in the teachers to affect student outcomes. So we bring the students into the museum for 2 visits each school year following deep, intensive professional development for teachers. And that's really where the magic of Thinking Through Art happens. We teach teachers how to lead open-ended, student-centered discussions about works of visual art. We give teachers a curriculum of images to use in their classroom so that students can see themselves represented in art. The primary pedagogy that we use in Thinking Through Art is called visual thinking strategies. And this is a very structured, open-ended discussion method that really invite beginner viewers to take a look at a work of art and describe what's going on in this picture. And then the facilitator asks them, what do you see that makes you say that? So students or learners of any age have to provide evidence to support their ideas. And finally, the facilitator asks, what more can we find? Indicating that we're never done investigating a work of art.
What more can we find?
Like if you look at the background, it kind of looks familiar to this place. Like it reminds me of it. So it makes me feel like the museum was modeled after that painting.
And what do you see that makes you say that Isabella might have created this place in a way that looks like that place?
When we ask something as open as, what is going on here? It invites people to start from wherever they can, wherever they personally want to enter. When we root it in the evidence and validating with us paraphrasing their words, saying, I hear you, I'm listening to you, and you are exceptional. It just like builds this structure that you just want to use for every single thing.
Well, I told them in September, we're gonna go to a museum. And in October, I set the date. And like every class, like, when are we going to the museum? When are we going to the museum? So when that day finally happened, I think it was the first day in weeks with like perfect attendance. Because every single person like made sure that they were there for that trip.
When we come to the museum, it is like Disneyland. It is like this magical place, and we get to come before the general public comes, and the idea that, whoa, we're coming to this special place, and it's all for you.
In my classroom, it was a little bit of like a special time, and I know lots of other teachers do like Museum Monday, or they have a time blocked out that once a month they're always doing it at the same time, and it's something that the kids look forward to.
We started off doing it once a month, became every week. They wanted to talk and talk and talk, which is great. I had some kids who didn't want to speak that ended up speaking a lot. So their conversation skills grew.
Every year you have the students who you want really hard to provide them with opportunities to feel successful. They don't get a lot of wins, right? And one of the big highlights of doing VTS with them is that they get their like moment in the sun, guaranteed every month.
Just to see those quiet ones that never participate, yeah, their hands went right up.
And when they said something and then their classmates were like, whoa, I didn't see that.
Exactly.
That's also powerful.
Mm-hmm. We have many students with disabilities, and they really need modified content. I've noticed that
doing TTA and doing VTS, their critical thinking skills have developed because they feel comfortable and they feel like they have something important to say, and it makes it really accessible for all students.
The teachers love everything about it. They love the fact that they're learning and they're put in a situation where they are the student. They get to then branch that out into their own classroom and then bring their classroom to the museum. It's a really unique opportunity.
We spend an entire week with the Boston Public School teachers during a summer institute where we train them in visual thinking strategies. We also reconvene the teachers twice during the school year.
When I found out about the professional development, and it was at a museum, and that was cool, I signed up and walked in the building for the first time. The museum wasn't open yet, and it was just like we all got to have a really special experience in the galleries. And while that was happening, we were also starting to get the foundation laid for learning about how to use visual thinking strategies and engaging with the program, engaging with the museum teachers, with everybody in the program, all the other teachers that were participating with me.
This community is incredible. This was just like the best of the best in terms of I felt like I had the tools and the skills and the mentoring and the support and the like positivity to like want to go running straight forward into this practice.
When we set out to create Thinking Through Art, we knew that we wanted to evaluate the effectiveness of this new model. We put together a study that would get evidence to support some of the things that we'd been noticing for years, if not decades.
I think the coolest thing with this study is that we're really demonstrating that a program like this is really able to fire on all cylinders.
The machine right there looks like it's taking the color away from.
Okay, so you're noticing this object right here and its connection to this and what could be the machine.
We wanted to really focus on the social emotional growth of students and go beyond some of the things that we had studied in the past. The study included 55 teachers and over 700 students.
Seeing the differences between two passionate teachers, one with Thinking Through Art and all of those tools, and one without, and how much more growth the teachers, and most importantly, their students had at the end of the year. And some of the numbers are just eye-popping, and that's really exciting.
We were very happy to find that Thinking Through Art is improving student outcomes in social emotional learning. One of our more surprising findings was that 57% of Thinking Through Art classes became more curious, whereas in the control group, the amount of curiosity actually went down. It's because throughout the year, the students in Thinking Through Art are asked, what more can we find? What more can we find? They're shown artwork usually once a month. It's a sustained looking practice over a sustained amount of time.
It's made my teaching more open-ended and more of a role of a facilitator rather than just a teacher and just telling students information. I think I've been more comfortable with letting them sit with things a little bit longer.
It's gonna give you the space to work on a lot of stuff that a lot of us say we wanna work on. Student talk, student academic talk, accountable talk, socio-emotional development, good classroom culture. It's all gonna be there. And the amount that you have to do and to memorize is very low, but the payout is really big.
I noticed my kids went from talking over each other to actually listening and being able to say, oh, I see what you're talking about. It was just mind-blowing.
Children are all about themselves. And in order to function in a group and get through school, they have to learn to think about other people, and that other people might have different feelings and other people might have different ideas. And I think that VTS is a really good practice for developing that. You have to listen to your neighbors, right? And not only do you have to, you really want to, because you're interested in this piece of art and you want to discover more. And what your neighbor is saying about it is like helping you to discover and enjoy it. Having done VTS for 1 year, it's almost one of those things as a teacher where you learn how to do it and you're like, I feel really bad I didn't do it before.
One of the things that I think was really exciting about this study is really seeing that the teachers who are buying in to this program and that are, meeting all of the program requirements and teaching the 6 lessons they need to teach and bringing their kids to the museum 2 times in the year and coming to the workshops, doing those things absolutely bore out not only for them, they were showing stronger growth. They were showing higher scores at the end of the year by far than the control group teachers who hadn't had the training. But then their students were too, and the most compelling kind of data that we were looking at for the students was how they were learning collaboratively in a group. And all of those scores went up the more the teacher was engaging with the Thinking Through Art program.
My hope is that the students find the Gardner as their second home when we're thinking about being part of the arts in Boston. And it's just as comfortable as going into their visual art classroom or an English classroom or a grade 2 classroom in one of our schools, and that they feel like this is part of their community.
We are fundamentally shifting their mindset about museums, and that these young people hopefully will continue to visit museums for the rest of their life. The Gardner Museum, as well as other museums, are here to be relevant to the visitors of today.
I think for the students, for me, I want to give them as many experiences as I can as their teacher, and this feels like such an amazing experience that I feel like they need to have.
I think that this program is so welcoming and inclusive to all types of teachers and all of their diverse students that it would just be great to have more teachers be able to bring more students into the museum and to be able to bring a little bit of the museum into their classrooms through these Thinking Through Art lessons and using these tools.
There's so much just positivity and hope for like what can be accomplished, that when a lot of other things in life or in school are feeling really down, this is like a bright light that's shining.